Part 16. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 151. Ye Chen grabbed Luo Hongjian's wrist and moved it aside. Hongjian, what are you doing? Can we have more trust between husband and wife? Luo Hongjian said angrily, Ye Chen, if you have the cultivation level of the God Emperor, I am afraid that if you have the cultivation level of the Saint Lord, you can sweep the world and crush all enemies in the world. Hongjian, you are domineering. Come on, let's go to a deserted place to spar and learn from each other. Ye Chen said with a smile. Luo Hongjian snorted softly. She always felt that Ye Chen had no good intentions. Going to a deserted place to take advantage of yourself? But apart from actually consummating the marriage, Ye Chen has almost taken advantage of all the other advantages. Go to the martial arts tower. Luo Hongjian felt that she had to give Ye Chen a good blow and let Ye Chen know the gap between her and her own strength. In this way, Ye Chen's motivation to practice might be greatly improved. The fighting tower is a place in the palace used for duels and discussions. Divided into 3 levels. There is a huge duel field on each floor, and figures of the emperor level can compete in it without any problem. Soon Ye Chen and the others arrived. There was no one else inside, so Luo Hongjian sealed the martial arts tower. She had to take care of Ye Chen's feelings. Ye Chen felt uncomfortable when he was seen losing so miserably. Ye Chen, take action. I let you attack for a quarter of an hour first. Luo Hongjian said domineeringly. With only the 2nd level of innate cultivation, she could release her aura, which was difficult for Ye Chen to do even if he was within 100 meters of her. Ye Chen smiled and said, Hongjian, do you still remember what you said before? If you win, you will consummate the marriage. It's inconvenient now that you haven't reached the level of the God Emperor. Let's change the conditions. Luo Hongjian nodded, okay, you say it. Ye Chen beats himself? Impossible. In terms of training, Luo Hongjian is very confident, and there are almost no people her age who are stronger than her. She was already very talented, and she had the royal energy to support her when she became the Empress. Later, after obtaining the Emperor's true fire, her talent further improved, and now she has reached the 9th level of the God King. Higher combat power. Hongjian, if I win, how about you call me husband in private? Ye Chen said with a smile. Luo Hongjian is the Empress. If Jiao Didi calls her husband, it would be a pleasure to think about it. Luo Hongjian said angrily, do you really think you can win? Okay, I promise you, if you win, I can call you husband when we are in bed. Are there any other conditions? Ye Chen shook his head. That's it? Luo Hongjian's eyes flickered. Ye Chen, I said before that every time your cultivation reaches a higher level, I can marry a female imperial concubine. I keep my word. But I also have a request. If you lose, how about you practice hard in the future? You can't practice for less than 2 hours every day. 2 hours a day is not much. En Langxiu and the others spend an average of more than 6 hours practicing every day. Ye Chen shook his head, Hongjian, let's forget this. I will definitely win. Am I deliberately taking advantage of this? I'm happy. But if you agree, you must do it in the future. A manly man, once he says something, it's hard to follow him, how about that? Luo Hongjian said solemnly. She felt that Ye Chen shook his head because he knew he couldn't beat him and didn't want to practice. How can this work? Juxing, Xingai, Ningyang, Yang Shen, God King, God Emperor, and Hongjian. If I do what you say, I can still find 6 women by then. There are too many for my body to bear, so forget it. Let's just start fighting. Ye Chen smiled and said, he was ready to release his aura and let Luo Hongjian know how powerful he was. We can't forget it, that's it? Luo Hongjian shouted. The moment before she spoke, a powerful aura erupted from Ye Chen's body. Boom! The aura of the God Emperor surged towards Luo Hongjian. Not wanting to offend Luo Hongjian too much, Ye Chen was only releasing the aura of the third level of the God Emperor at this moment. This person is much taller than Luo Hongjian, who is now at the 9th level of the God King. But it is entirely possible for Luo Hongjian to catch up with her hard work. God Emperor. Luo Hongjian was stunned. Ye Chen actually has the strength of a God Emperor. How is this possible? Luo Wanli didn't notice it, nor did Bamo Emperor Zun or the others. Hongjian, how are you? Ye Chen said with a smile. Luo Hongjian came back to her senses, and she was extremely shocked and said, Ye Chen, you actually have a cultivation level of the God Emperor. How did you avoid being discovered by the ancestors? Ye Chen said, Hongjian, my skills are special. I can increase my cultivation even while sleeping. Moreover, my cultivation can be perfectly hidden and will not be known to others. Luo Hongjian said thoughtfully, so you look like you are lying around lazing around every day, but you are actually practicing. Good. Otherwise, how do you think I can reach the level of a God Emperor? Ye Chen didn't blush at all. His cultivation is sign-in, which comes from the system hanging up, but the system belongs to him. It's equivalent to him practicing, there's nothing wrong with it. Hongjian, I'm sorry I didn't tell you my cultivation before. If I had spoken out before, you might have suspected that I had ulterior motives and wanted to seize the throne or something. Ye Chen apologized. Luo Hongjian shook her head slightly, you don't have to apologize for this. You actually said that you are very strong before, but I just don't believe it. And it's normal for you to think like this. If you had shown such strength before, you would not have been able to become the Empress. Emperors are often suspicious. If Ye Chen showed such strength without proper feelings, Luo Hongjian would definitely doubt it. Now that it is said, Luo Hongjian will naturally no longer doubt it. Hongjian, in fact, my current cultivation level is more than the third level of the Divine Emperor. As for what kind of strength, I will tell you when you reach the level of Divine Emperor. Ye Chen chuckled. Luo Hongjian was stunned. Ye Chen is more than the third level of the Divine Emperor? Ye Chen, so when you left the palace before, you were not actually captured by the strong men of the Xiongnu Empire. Did you escape by yourself and then rush to the border? Luo Hongjian said. Ye Chen nodded slightly. Luo Hongjian was moved. Ye Chen must be worried about her when he went to the border. Hongjian, you don't know my specific cultivation level, so the promise you made before can be ignored. I am enough with you. You can transfer Lan and the others to be your maids. Ye Chen smiled. Luo Hongjian glared at Ye Chen unhappily. Not knowing Ye Chen's cultivation, she actually made such a promise and asked Lanxiu and the others to seduce Ye Chen. Ye Chen, I am the Emperor, and my words are as good as gold. Since I promised you, my words still count. Luo Hongjian gritted her teeth. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian with a smile. Luo Hongjian's little look of gritting her teeth was a little cute. Hongjian, you can make a move. Although my cultivation is higher than yours, you may win. Luo Hongjian's cultivation is the 9th level of the God King, but now she has the Emperor's holy fire and powerful treasures, and she has the combat power of the 3rd level of the God King. The average 3rd level of the God King may not be able to beat her. Kill. Luo Hongjian rushed towards Ye Chen angrily. Although she understood, she was still angry. Boom. Luo Hongjian stabbed with a sword, and huge Emperor phantoms appeared behind her. The phantoms of the Emperors all drew their swords. The powerful aura of the Emperor pressed down. Under the influence of such an aura of the Emperor, a person at the 3rd level of the General Emperor might only be able to exert 70% to 80% of his full strength. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 152. Luo Hongjian's sword is called Emperor Yan, and it is an emperor-level sword passed down from the Tianyuan dynasty. It requires an emperor with a fire attribute physique to use it. Luo Shenjiayuan's attributes don't match, but Luo Hongjian's matches perfectly. She successfully made the sword its owner half a year ago. When the sword came out, Ye Chen felt as if he was in purgatory. The Emperor Flame Sword is very strong. The Emperor's breath suppresses the purgatory mood of the Emperor's Flame Sword. At the same time, Luo Hongjian also burst out with her sword intent. The three fusions make it absolutely difficult for ordinary third-level God Emperor figures to resist. Not bad. Ye Chen smiled slightly. Disperse. Ye Chen waved his hand, and the sword energy in front of him dissipated instantly. He owns the Holy Sword Code. Even if his cultivation level reaches the third level of the God Emperor, such sword energy is just a cloud to him. Kill. The sword energy was useless. Luo Hongjian held the sword in her hand, and the Emperor Flame Sword body instantly stabbed Ye Chen's throat. He. Ye Chen flicked his finger on the sword. Suddenly Luo Hongjian felt a terrifying force coming through the sword. She almost couldn't hold the sword in her hand. So strong. Luo Hongjian was shocked. Ye Chen's finger had at least the fourth level attack power of the God Emperor. Kill. The sword energy could not hurt Ye Chen, nor could a direct attack hurt Ye Chen. Luo Hongjian immediately changed her tactics. In an instant, several of her appeared and surrounded Ye Chen. Luo Hongjian used illusion. Hongjian, this is useless. Ye Chen chuckled. As he spoke, countless sword energies suddenly appeared hundreds of meters around. Boom. Boom. The sword energy is everywhere. Luo Hongjian felt like she was in the realm of sword energy. There is sword energy in all directions. She lost track of Ye Chen. The phantom clone was instantly destroyed. Hongjian, you should learn the way of Kendo. You are a little weak in Kendo. Ye Chen smiled and retreated. The sword energy around Luo Hongjian did not disappear, and many sword energy continued to attack Luo Hongjian. Taking out the deck chair from the space treasure, Ye Chen lay down leisurely. Half an hour later, the sword energy around Luo Hongjian disappeared. Her understanding of Kendo has improved a lot. Ye Chen, has your understanding of swordsmanship reached the level of an emperor? Luo Hongjian said in disbelief when she arrived in front of Ye Chen. She has also come into contact with sword cultivators at the 9th level of the God Emperor, so her simple understanding of the art of swordsmanship should not be that strong. Ye Chen stood up and nodded. More than just the Emperor level? What he got was the Saint level sword code, which was an SS level reward. Even the Saints were jealous of it. You are not an old monster, are you? Luo Hongjian asked nervously. If Ye Chen is already an old monster hundreds of years old, then he is an old cow eating her young grass. Ye Chen rolled his eyes. Hongjian, I'm only 2 years older than you. Your husband is a genius, so he understands the art of swordsmanship, chess, calligraphy, and painting relatively quickly. Luo Hongjian breathed a sigh of relief. Ye Chen, you are so powerful in all aspects, so why don't you enter the palace and become the empress? Luo Hongjian said. His chess, calligraphy, and painting skills are all at a god level, and coupled with his powerful strength, he can be at ease in the world. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian with a smile. Hongjian, why do you think I entered the palace and became the empress? The answer suddenly came to Luo Hongjian's mind. Because of myself. With Ye Chen's strength and talent, the throne may not be in his eyes. Hongjian, I have never had a woman before. If you sleep with me, you have to take responsibility for me. Luo Hongjian. Ye Chen, there was a kind of flame in my body before. Was it you who caused it? The flames at the back have become much stronger. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian with a smile. Luo Hongjian suddenly understood. The reason why I cannot break through to the level of God Emperor now is probably because of Ye Chen. It seems that Ye Chen is not just trying to figure out my body, otherwise I would have reached the consummation level of the God Emperor and consummated the marriage long ago. Luo Hongjian thought to herself, there was more affection in her eyes when she looked at Ye Chen. Ye Chen, that beauty pill. Suddenly, Luo Hongjian thought of this. Is this really what Ye Chen bought at a street stall? Ye Chen chuckled and said, I have received a powerful inheritance and also obtained some treasures. The beauty pill was obtained from the ruins, as was the marrow cleansing pill for Chang'e. The jade bottle was indeed bought from a street stall. Ye Chen didn't intend to tell the existence of the system, not even to Luo Hongjian. Big liar. You lied to me a lot. Luo Hongjian hummed. She was extremely happy. I was a little angry at first, but I had vented it out just now. Ye Chen's feelings for him are true, that's enough. And since Ye Chen has a higher level of cultivation than her, he still has a long lifespan, so she no longer has to worry about Ye Chen dying early. Hongjian, there are no outsiders here. Please call your husband to come and listen. Ye Chen said with a smile. Luo Hongjian was a little embarrassed. She is the empress. However, thinking of what Ye Chen had done for her, Luo Hongjian still called out in a low voice, husband. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian. Luo Hongjian's pretty face was red and extremely touching. Hongjian, speak louder. I didn't hear that clearly. Ye Chen frowned. Luo Hongjian rolled her eyes at Ye Chen, she believed there was something wrong. It is impossible for a congenital level cultivator to not hear clearly, let alone Ye Chen's divine emperor level cultivator. Husband, husband. Are you satisfied? Luo Hongjian raised her voice. Haha, not bad, I finally heard it clearly this time. Ye Chen laughed. Luo Hongjian, the empress, finally called him husband, it felt quite good. Hongjian, transfer Lan and the others. But you still have to keep my cultivation secret. If they knew my divine emperor level cultivation, I guess the number of strong people who want to kill me would increase immediately. Luo Hongjian said solemnly, I was just about to tell you this. Your cultivation must continue to be kept secret. With your talent, the enemy will not allow you to grow up. The strong people in other countries will find ways to get rid of you. Ye Chen nodded gently. He is only at the 7th level of the Great Emperor now, not yet invincible. Ye Chen, Lan, and Qian, you should continue to stay in your Fengming Palace. If I transfer them away, what will the others think? I promised you before and I will not regret it. If you want me to take Lan or Qian as my concubine, you tell me. Natasha, you'd better not choose her. Originally, Luo Hongjian wanted to seduce Ye Chen as much as possible. Natasha is exotic and attractive. Now there is no need to seduce Ye Chen to practice, but to prevent Ye Chen's cultivation from being leaked. After all, Natasha is from the Bamo dynasty. She was sent here by the Bamo emperor. If Ye Chen's cultivation at the level of the Emperor of God is exposed, Luo Hongjian estimated that the Bamo emperor would not let him grow up. Ye Chen chuckled and said, Hongjian, Lan and Qian will become my women, don't say that. I told you before that you can only take one of the 3,000 weak waters. Luo Hongjian said with a smile, some people in Xuanhuan Palace said they wanted polygamy before. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 153. Ye Chen sighed softly, Beijing, there is always a little gap between reality and dreams, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Luo Hongjian said, why can't they both get it? Didn't I promise you that I could accept them as imperial concubines? Then you can't sleep on the same bed. I have my golden words. If you ask me, I will not break my promise. Ye Chen chuckled and said, Hanjian, I know you won't break your promise, but you won't be happy either. There are always choices in life, and I can't bear to have you unhappy. Luo Hanjian looked at Ye Chen blankly. This is actually the reason. She was so moved that she burst into tears. Ye Chen was actually willing to give up having An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian, two peerless beauties, just to be happy for her. Even if she ranks first on the list of beauties in the sky, not many men can do it. Ye Chen, you are a bit stupid. Luo Hanjian chuckled. Each other. Ye Chen said calmly. In fact, he had been struggling with this decision for some time. But since Luo Hanjian is stupid, in order to make him live longer, she can do something to let An Langxiu and the others take the initiative to seduce her. How could he disappoint Luo Hanjian? Just be stupid. If everyone is stupid, a relationship can last forever. Ye Chen, I should be able to reach the level of God Emperor in 2 or 3 months. Luo Hanjian said a little shyly. Hanjian, you are such a pervert. Ye Chen laughed. Since you said that to me, I can't spare you. As Luo Hanjian said this, she grabbed Ye Chen's hand and bit her arm directly. After coming out of the martial arts tower, Luo Hanjian and Ye Chen went to Fengming Palace together. Natasha, my personal female officer Nangongning is the only one who is too busy. I have discussed it with the Empress and you go to my Purple Dragon Palace. How? Luo Hanjian said to Natasha. Yes, Your Majesty. Natasha's eyes lit up. At Fengming Palace, she still had to accept the task of seducing Ye Chen. To be honest, she was still a little bit repelled. She is not like An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. Ye Chen helped An Langxiu avenge his blood, killing the holy son of Lei Hong resolved the knot in Lu Qianqian's heart. Ye Chen was very good to them during the few months they were here. He also gave them emperor-level treasures. All these things, if someone attacks Ye Chen now, even if they die trying to block Ye Chen's sword, An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian will not hesitate. What's the point of tempting Ye Chen? Luo Hanjian nodded slightly, and her eyes fell on An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. They were practicing, but they stopped practicing when Luo Hanjian came over. An Langxiu, Lu Qianqian, your mission continues. Luo Hanjian sent a message to them. An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian continued to seduce Ye Chen, so that others would not doubt it. Luo Hanjian clearly knew that there were many informants in the palace. An Lan, Qianqian, hurry up and practice. The world is not peaceful, and the Emperor and Empress still need your protection. Luo Hanjian said softly. Yes, Your Majesty. An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian saluted at the same time. Luo Hanjian went to the training room to visit Luo Yudi and then left. Originally, Luo Hanjian was actually a little worried about what would happen to Ye Chen and Luo Yudi. Now she is not worried. An Langxiu and Lu Qianqian are much better looking than Luo Yudi who hasn't grown up yet. Empress, why was Natasha transferred away? Lu Qianqian went to practice, and An Langxiu guarded Ye Chen and said with some confusion. She didn't believe Luo Hanjian's reasons. There are so many people in the Tianyang dynasty, so it's easy to find a good female official. Ye Chen glanced at An Langxiu. An Lan, you will know this later. Since you don't know now, it's best not to ask around. Oh. An Langxiu stuck out her tongue and said, Empress, I will give you a squeeze on your shoulders. Ye Chen nodded slightly. An Langxiu's strong and accurate massage was still very comfortable. A city several hundred kilometers away from Tianyang Imperial City. A dozen strong men from the dynasty of the gods arrived here. 4 God Emperor level experts, 6 God King level experts, and the most powerful God Emperor 9th level. Who? The strong man from the 9th level of the God Emperor shouted loudly. In an instant, a powerful sword formation was released, covering the manor where they were. A woman in black appears in the manor. She does not have the cultivation of the 9th level of the God Emperor, but she also has the 7th level of the God Emperor, and is good at invisibility. Everyone, I have no hostility, we have a common goal. The woman in black quickly said, she has no name, only a code name, Dark May. Tell us which force you are from, otherwise we won't believe you. Charlemagne, the strong man headed by the dynasty of the gods, said coldly, approaching the woman in black with a fierce sword energy. The other strong men also took out their weapons. A token appeared in Dark May's hand, I come from Taixuan Holy Land. Taixuan Holy Land is very famous throughout the Juxiao continent, and Charlemagne and the others naturally know that the token in Dark May's hands is indeed from Taixuan Holy Land. But they didn't let their guard down completely. It is not impossible for the strong men from other forces to possess the token of Taixuan Holy Land. Everyone, our Taixuan Holy Land has contacted your god's dynasty and knows that you are here to intercept Ye Chen. You are a little late. Dark May said, now you may need help from our Taixuan Holy Land. Charlemagne's eyes sparkled. They wanted to intercept and kill Ye Chen, but here Ye Chen had already entered the palace. The Tianyan dynasty is so powerful that it will be much more difficult to kill Ye Chen who is staying in the palace. Everyone, I know you may not quite believe me. It doesn't matter. You can go to Taixuan Holy Land and you can talk to our Holy Lord. I'm just here to invite you. Charlemagne and the others quickly and secretly discussed it. It turned out that if the powerful men of Taixuan Holy Land invited them, it would be absolutely impossible for them to go. So far they have found two things. Pei Hakan followed and attacked Ye Chen and the others, but was killed with a stick. Taixuan Sheng secretly poisoned the people of Fengming Palace, but was found out, and many people in Taixuan Holy Land were beheaded. At present, Taixuan Holy Land must have separated from the royal family. Okay, let's go. Charlemagne nodded and said, if they want to complete the task, they need the support of local snakes here. 2 or 3 hours later, Charlemagne and the others had arrived at Taixuan Holy Land. They successfully met Gong Kanghai. Dark May, please go down first. Gong Kanghai ordered, fellow Daoist Charlie, how about you also ask your companions to go down and rest first? Some things are not suitable for many people to know. Charlemagne nodded, and Dark Charm led the rest of the powerful men from the dynasty of gods down first. There were only 2 people left in the room, Gong Kanghai and Charlemagne. Fellow Daoist Charlie, are you planning to move Yejia village? Gong Kanghai asked. Charlemagne's eyes flashed, they did have such an idea. Ye Chen is from Yejia village, and his parents are buried in Yejia village. Even if there are strong men guarding Yejia village, using their strength to kill the strong men guarding there, it would be easy to capture the people of Yejia village alive. As long as they force Ye Chen to leave Tianyan Imperial City, it will be much easier for them to kill Ye Chen. Even though their most powerful abilities are only at the 9th level of the God Emperor, they have brought imperial weapons. Even if Yao Jingguo comes out to protect Ye Chen, they are still capable of destroying Yao Jingguo. As if he had seen through Charlemagne's plan, Gong Kanghai said, fellow Taoist Charlie, if Yao Jingguo comes out to protect the emperor, will you kill him with the imperial weapon? Good. Charlemagne said in a deep voice. They came here to kill people and avenge them. Just killing Ye Chen is not enough. If you can kill another emperor, that should be enough. Gong Kanghai sighed, fortunately, I contacted you. Yao Jingguo belongs to Prince Mu, and Prince Mu wants to fight for the throne. You should know this. By killing Yao Jingguo, you are doing Luo Hanjian a big favor. Charlemagne was startled. They didn't know that Yao Jingguo was actually from Prince Mu. It seems that we really need help from local snakes. Holy Master Gong, I think we can cooperate. Tell us about your plan. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 154. Gong Kanghai said, there is a top emperor behind the ruined Divine Sword Villa, and he is the key. He must stop supporting Luo Hongjian, otherwise your actions will be very dangerous. Charlemagne nodded slightly. He was very afraid of this person. We have a magic medicine in Taixuan Holy Land. It is colorless and odorless, but it can make people's lust grow continuously, and the growth cannot be resolved by ordinary methods. What do you think of using this medicine on Enlangxiu? Charlemagne pondered for a while and said, Palace Holy Master, do you think that Enlangxiu can't help but have a relationship with the Empress Yechen, or that Enlangxiu abandons Yechen and chooses to leave? Gong Kanghai stroked his beard and said with a smile, fellow Taoist Charlie, you are right, Enlangxiu only has these two choices. If she chooses the first option, Yechen's position as Empress will not be guaranteed, and it will be easy for you to kill Yechen. If she chooses the second option, there is a high probability that she will accept Prince Mu. Charlemagne nodded slightly. No matter which one you choose, they are both really good. If Enlangxiu becomes Prince Mu's woman, the powerful emperor behind Enlangxiu will probably support Prince Mu. Fellow Daoist Charlie, if Enlangxiu chooses the first option, she has a top emperor behind her, so she won't be killed, but she is also likely to be expelled by Luo Hongjian. She is still very likely to become Prince Mu's woman by then. Charlemagne frowned and said, Palace Holy Master, will this time be a little long? Gong Kanghai said calmly, fellow Daoist Charlie, if it takes a long time to succeed, or if the time is short and you fail and die, which one do you prefer? You said you arrested people from Yejia village and threatened you. What if the top emperor secretly takes action? You haven't discovered Yechen and the others yet. It is estimated that the other party has already discovered you and can kill you all in an instant. With the other party's protection, there is no way you can kill Yechen. Charlemagne nodded slightly. If they were protected by a top emperor, it would be really difficult for them to kill. Holy Master Gong, does your plan require us to just wait? Charlemagne asked. Gong Kanghai shook his head, of course not, how about you kill some people? Kill who? Charlemagne said in a deep voice. Gong Kanghai said calmly, there is only 1 month left for the scientific and martial arts exams. Now many young talents from the Tianyang dynasty are on their way to Tianyang Imperial City. You kill some. The attention of many powerful people in the royal family will be focused on this. It will be convenient to drug Enlangxiu. Gong Kanghai doesn't want to do this by himself. Siduda wants to be the emperor, and Pei Wei wants to be the emperor. In fact, he also wants to be the emperor. There must be a few dead soldiers in your team. You can let them do it. Why kill people? You can throw dirty water on the emperor and empress. Yechen beat the prince on the side of Bamo dynasty. It is normal for someone to take revenge. Charlemagne thought for a long time and nodded. They came here to take revenge and avenge their shame. Charlemagne said, there are strong men from the royal family on the other side of Yejia village. Before taking action, we first kill the strong men sent by the royal family. We can lure away many strong men. Gong Kanghai said lightly, fellow Charlemagne, this is up to you. But no matter what you do, it has nothing to do with our Taixuan Holy Land. If you talk nonsense then, we have ancestors at the level of emperors in Taixuan Holy Land. And look at this. Gong Kanghai said as 5 guillotine nails appeared in his hand, all of them were at the first level of the great emperor. The 5 guillotine nails all exuded a terrifying aura. Charlemagne's expression changed. If he is the 9th level of the god emperor and is vigilant, the guillotine of the first level of the great emperor will certainly not be able to kill him, but if he is not vigilant, he may also be killed by such a thing. Gong Kanghai actually took out 5 of them. This thing was definitely refined by Pei Wei, the old holy lord of Taixuan Holy Land. Don't worry, Lord Palace, I won't tell anyone. As for the rest, they don't know the plan at all. I came up with the plan myself. Charlemagne quickly assured. He cannot afford to offend Taixuan Holy Land. Friend Charlie, I hope we can have a happy cooperation. Gong Kanghai smiled slightly. Late at night, Charlemagne and the others arrived at Yejia village. Yejia village was now guarded secretly by a powerful man of the God Emperor level. Sent by Luo Hanjian. There is only one strong man at the level of the God Emperor. I will break the formation immediately, and then the four of us will attack each other together. Charlemagne said solemnly, there were only 4 powerful men at the level of the God Emperor who were ready to take action. 6 God King level figures headed towards Tianyan Imperial City. They will spread out. The sword formation is good. It's a pity that the level is not high enough. Charlemagne's eyes sparkled, and he also had in-depth research on sword formations. Break. The formation set up by Ye Chen could only kill ordinary people at the level of the God Emperor. Charlemagne was a strong man at the 9th level of the God Emperor. When he took action, the formation set up by Ye Chen was instantly shattered. The expression of the strong man guarding secretly changed greatly. The enemy actually broke through the formation instantly. He definitely can't deal with such an enemy. Die. The attacks of Charlemagne and 3 other powerful God Emperor level men came instantly. Boom. In the huge explosion, half of the mountain was destroyed by Charlemagne and his men's attack, and the God Emperor level strongman hidden in the mountain was instantly killed by Charlemagne and his men. He only had the 4th level of God Emperor cultivation. Charlemagne was the 9th level of God Emperor. Among the other 3 God Emperor level strongmen, one was the 6th level of God Emperor and the other was the 4th level of God Emperor. In Tianyan Imperial City, Ye Chen was sleeping with Luo Hanjian in his arms. He suddenly sat up and felt something in his heart. Husband, husband, what's wrong? Luo Hanjian opened her eyes and said in a daze. Before going to bed, Ye Chen coaxed her to call her husband many times, and she still remembered it now. Ye Chen frowned, I have set up a formation over at Yejia village, but I'm afraid it's broken. Hanjian, did you send a powerful warrior over there? Yes, I sent a 4th level divine emperor. He made some mistakes, let him go over there to make amends. His family is all over Tianyan Imperial City, it should be impossible for them to destroy the formation you set up. Ye Chen said in a deep voice, there should be an enemy over there, the people you sent over there are in danger. Luo Hanjian woke up. She sat up and said coldly, could it be that Taixuan Holy Land has taken action again? I killed 100 or 200 of them. Are they trying to force me to continue to swing the butcher knife at them? Ye Chen pondered and said, it is not very likely that Taixuan Holy Land will take action directly. Such means are a bit rough, and it will be shameful if it is spread out. Many thoughts flashed through his mind in an instant, and Ye Chen continued, I think it is likely that it should be the strong men of the God's dynasty. If the God's dynasty sends people to take action, the time has come. Ye Chen, don't be too anxious. The other party should not dare to kill people casually. They should only catch people from Yejia village. Luo Hanjian comforted, by the way, Ye Chen, when the time comes, can you move your parents' graves? Find a feng shui treasure land on the side of Tianyan Imperial City. Ye Chen frowned. He was very worried about the situation on the other side of Yejia village, but it might be too late to go there. It would take him half an hour to go there at full speed. Hanjian, let Shen Kuo and the others protect me. I will leave the palace overnight and head to Yejia village. The other party may have other actions. If they are coming for me, I will show up and the other party may not have other actions. Ye Chen said. Luo Hanjian's face changed, Ye Chen, no, even if you have the strength of the divine emperor, what if the other party comes with a great emperor, or the other party has an imperial weapon? Ye Chen moved his mind and the Chu armor appeared on his body. Hanjian, the defense of my armor is stronger than the guardian ring I gave you. It is a top-notch defensive imperial weapon. Luo Hanjian was stunned. Ye Chen actually had such a good thing. With this Ye Chen, it is much safer. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 155. Ye Chen, it's still not right. Luo Hanjian frowned. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hanjian, who said, although you have such a defensive treasure, if you reveal it, others will know that your cultivation level is definitely not low. Even a defensive imperial weapon is definitely not something that a second-level innate person can possess. More importantly, if the enemy threatens you to show up as the Emperor and Empress, it will only make the other enemies more unscrupulous. Attack is the best defense. Ye Chen thought. Soon he nodded slightly, maybe you are right, Hanjian. What he was thinking about was how to ensure that nothing happened to the people in Yejia village, or that no problems occurred in other places in the short term, but Luo Hanjian was thinking about the long-term overall situation of the entire Tianyang dynasty. In comparison, his layout is a bit small. Luo Hanjian's years as emperor were not for nothing. With just a casual threat, he, the emperor and empress, showed up. Where is the majesty of the emperor and empress? Where is the majesty of the empire? Luo Hanjian's eyes flashed. I have asked others to pay attention to the situation in Yejiakan. It won't be long before news comes from Yejiakan. Let's see what happens. Our Tianyang dynasty does not have strong people on the side of the gods dynasty. Ye Chen nodded slightly. Sure enough, within a quarter of an hour, Luo Hanjian received an urgent summons from Captain Dong. As a lieutenant, Tai Wei Dong could directly send a message to Luo Hanjian when there was an urgent matter. Your Majesty, something happened in Yejia village. A top divine emperor is taking action. The formation over there was destroyed, a mountaintop was destroyed, and our god emperor over there died. The people in Yejia village are fine at the moment, and the graves of the empress's parents are fine at the moment. After receiving the summons, Luo Hanjian breathed a sigh of relief, and she immediately told Ye Chen about the situation. Ye Chen also breathed a sigh of relief. At least the people in Yejia village are safe for now. Hanjian, in this case the enemy seems to be trying to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Yejia village is probably not the real target. Ye Chen analyzed. Luo Hanjian nodded slightly. Killing Yejia village would not bring any special benefits except making them angry. On the contrary, it also reduced Ye Chen's weakness. Ye Chen, although the enemy did not kill anyone, such behavior is already a great provocation. We must respond. Luo Hanjian's eyes flashed with cold light. Breaking the formation over there and killing the god emperor guarding that side was already an extremely bad event. How many god emperors are there in the entire Tianyang dynasty? There are even fewer god emperors loyal to the royal family. Ye Chen said, Hanjian, we are still not sure that it was the powerful people from the gods dynasty who did it, and it is impossible for us to directly attack people from the gods dynasty. Luo Hanjian frowned. This was a serious problem. The Tianyang dynasty has many enemies, and there are also many internal enemies. It is not easy to determine which side the enemies come from. Over at Yejia village, a strong man at the level of a god emperor took action to clean up the traces and left. It's difficult to tell who the other party is from the remaining traces. Ye Chen, if you want to identify the enemy through battle traces, the Yao family master probably couldn't do it in the past. The other party wants to lure away the ancestor behind Shenjian Villa. The enemy may even want to use this method to lure the ancestor of the Excalibur Villa to kill him. Luo Hanjian said solemnly. Ye Chen frowned secretly. The latter situation mentioned by Luo Hanjian is not impossible. There were two emperor-level experts in front of him who joined forces to kill Yao Jingguo. Top emperor-level experts are even more of a threat. It is possible that many powerful men from the American League dynasty, the Gods dynasty, and even the Northern Desert dynasty could secretly join forces to act together. Of course, Emperor Constant, Emperor Ivan and others are now unknown whether they are alive or dead. The possibility of the latter situation is relatively small, and the possibility of the Northern Desert dynasty being involved is even smaller. Hanjian, please send a message to Taixuan Holy Land and ask the old Holy Lord of Taixuan Holy Land to come and visit. Will he come? Ye Chen asked. Luo Hanjian thought about it and nodded slightly. As long as Taixuan Holy Land does not want to rebel immediately, and still takes the lead in the rebellion, the old Holy Lord Pei Wei should come over. Ye Chen said, then you should immediately send a message over there and ask the old Holy Lord of Taixuan Holy Land to come over overnight. After he comes, ask him to find me at Fengming Palace. Luo Hanjian looked at Ye Chen doubtfully. What kind of medicine is sold in Ye Chen's gourd? Ye Chen smiled and said, Beauty, I have a sense of propriety. Pei Wei will never kill me here, otherwise even if he is the great emperor, he will not survive. Good. Luo Hanjian nodded slightly. If Ye Chen said this before, she would never agree. It would be too easy for Pei Wei to kill Ye Chen. But now she knows that Ye Chen is very strong and has a top emperor level defensive armor. Soon Luo Hanjian sent a long-distance message to Gong Kanghai. The wording is extremely harsh. The reason is also ready. A powerful person with the level of God Emperor died on the side of Yejia village. Gong Kanghai met Pei Wei immediately. Mr. Pei, the strong men from the Gods dynasty took action and killed the strong men guarding Yejia village. His Majesty has sent a message to you to go to Tianyan Imperial City immediately and enter the palace overnight. If you don't comply, His Majesty will mobilize an army to invite you. Gong Kanghai said respectfully, and he also told Pei Wei what he had said to Charlemagne before. Pei Wei stood up and looked towards the north. He smiled faintly and said, I haven't left for decades. It seems that I must go to Tianyan Imperial City this time. I don't know what changes have taken place in the past few decades. Mr. Pei, what will His Majesty do if you enter the palace? Gong Kanghai was a little worried. Pei Wei said faintly, even Luo Wanli may not be my opponent. Besides, there are many strong men in Taixuan Holy Land. If I die, the entire Tianyan dynasty will be in turmoil immediately. You don't have to worry too much about safety. Gong Kanghai nodded slightly, Mr. Pei, then you should be careful. If you haven't returned within 3 days, many strong men in our Taixuan Holy Land will launch an attack. Many people will die in the Tianyan dynasty. Pei Wei left quickly, he was full of confidence. On the surface, he only had the cultivation of the 3rd level of the Great Emperor, but in fact he was the 4th level of the Great Emperor, and he also had powerful treasures. Half an hour later, Pei Wei had already entered the Tianyan Imperial City. Ding! The treasures detected in the Tianyan Imperial Palace immediately sounded the alarm, and Luo Hanjian soon got the news. Old Saint Master Pei, someone will pick you up at the palace gate. Luo Hanjian sent a message to Pei Wei. Thank you, Your Majesty. Pei Wei quickly arrived at the gate of the Imperial Palace. It was late at night and the gate was locked, but a small door was opened next to it. Old Saint Master Pei, please. Shen Kuo said. There was a sedan chair next to him. Pei Wei nodded slightly and sat in the sedan chair. 20 minutes later, the sedan chair arrived at Fengming Palace. Pei Wei did not doubt it and thought that Luo Hanjian would sleep in Fengming Palace tonight. Old Saint Master Pei, please come in. Eunuch Lu said. Pei Wei looked at Eunuch Lu a few more times. He felt that Eunuch Lu seemed to be a little bit wrong. What was wrong, Pei Wei could not tell. In his perception, Eunuch Liu's cultivation was only at the 7th level of the Divine King, which was very low for him. The lights in Fengming Palace were bright. Pei Wei followed Eunuch Lu to the backyard and saw Ye Chen lying there leisurely. Luo Hongjian was not there. Pei Wei frowned secretly. What's going on? Ye Chen looked at Pei Wei and said lightly, Old Saint Pei, don't you know how to greet me? Instantly, Pei Wei felt an extremely terrifying pressure. The whole world seemed to be pressing down on him. Crack! Pei Wei's leg bone was directly broken. Submitting to the pressure, Pei Wei knelt on the ground, and the pressure on his body was reduced a little. He was extremely horrified. He had the strength of the fourth level of the Great Emperor. Even a figure at the half-saint level should not be able to force him to kneel down with momentum alone. Could it be the saint? Pei Wei couldn't believe it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 156. Old Holy Lord Pei, your cultivation level at the fourth level of the Great Emperor is pretty good. Holy Sun Lei Hong said before that you only have the cultivation level at the third level of the Great Emperor. Ye Chen looked at Pei Wei with a half smile. Pei Wei said in a trembling voice, Emperor, Empress, my little strength is nothing compared to yours. Pei Wei thought that this terrifying momentum came from Ye Chen. Old Holy Lord Pei, don't underestimate yourself. You have the cultivation level of the fourth level of the Great Emperor. There is still a 1 in a million chance of competing for the throne. Believe in yourself. Pei Wei felt bitter in his heart. Is it possible to have the strength of Saint Ye Chen, 1 in a million? Empress, I am guilty. Pei Wei kowtowed, and cold sweat broke out on his back. If Ye Chen didn't call him over, but let them rebel, they would definitely die by then. Pei Wei, with your Taixuan Holy Land's limited strength, it is simply ridiculous to want to rebel. Eunuch Lu sneered, and as he spoke, he also exuded an aura of the level of an emperor. The second level of the Great Emperor. Pei Wei judged it immediately. He was shocked that the old eunuch next to Ye Chen was actually a powerful man at the level of an emperor. The so-called ancestors of Shenji Unvilla and the strong men who killed Pei Hekang are all under the command of the Empress. Pei Wei thought this way. Ye Chen has the strength of a saint, and he has some emperor-level subordinates who are normal. Old Holy Lord Pei, tell me, what kind of dignified way do you want to die? Ye Chen said calmly. Pei Wei felt the pressure on his body increasing again, and the bones in his body creaked. The soul also suffered extremely terrible pressure. If the pressure continues to increase, the body and soul may collapse. Emperor and Empress, spare your life. I am willing to swear on my soul to be loyal to the Emperor and the Empress. Our Taixuan Holy Land will never betray her when the time comes. Pei Wei said eagerly, raising his hands to curse and swear. Ye Chen said with an indifferent expression, you have been pretending to be dead for decades. It is not easy to achieve such a level of cultivation in seclusion. It is also not easy to refine many things like guillotines. Why do you just give up on your dream? Pei Wei smiled bitterly in his heart. There is no dream in this situation. His fight for the throne is a nightmare. However, decades of hard work have not been in vain. He now has the strength of a great emperor. Empress, I will be your dog from now on. I will go wherever you tell me to go. Your dream is my dream. Pei Wei is extremely humble. Now he just wants to live. Ye Chen waved his hand, and the terrifying pressure on Pei Wei suddenly disappeared. His whole body seemed to have risen from hell to heaven. Old Holy Lord Pei, Hongjian doesn't know my true strength. Only Yao Jingguo knows about the other strong men. Don't let it slip. I don't want to lose my peaceful life now. Ye Chen said with an indifferent expression. Yes, my lord. Pei Wei said with great respect that he changed his title. Ye Chen's reaction was to spare him and accept him as his subordinate. Take out all the guillotines you have on your body. Also, What's going on over at Yejiakan? Ye Chen said softly. Pei Wei was heartbroken. He only had a total of 20 guillotine nails. Gong Kanghai gave him 5 and Pei Hakan gave him 2. Now he only has 18 nails left. These 20-odd guillotine nails almost emptied the savings of Taixuan Holy Land. I really can't bear to give it out directly. What, you don't want to? If you don't want to, then don't call me, and don't call me Lord. You go back and get ready. Let's compare notes on the battlefield. Ye Chen said coldly. Pei Wei was frightened, and he quickly took out the things. Lord, I am willing, of course I am willing. Lord, it is my honor that you like these rags. Eunuch Lu stared. Pei Wei, when you talk to the Emperor and Empress from now on, you have to call yourself a slave. Yes, that's what Eunuch Lu said. Pei Wei said quickly. Ye Chen raised his hand, and a force immediately pulled 18 severed heads into his hand. This is indeed some junk, but it's just right for Enlan and the others. Ye Chen said softly. He said and put away all 18 guillotines. Pei Wei said humbly, my lord, the servants over at Yejia village know something about the situation. Charlemagne and other 4 powerful men of the God Emperor level from the God's dynasty brought 6 God Kings to the Tianyang dynasty. Gong Kanghai discussed with them. They will first do something in Yejia village and lure away some powerful people in the palace. Then the 6 God Kings will kill some people who participated in the scientific and martial arts examinations. This is also to lure away the strong. The ultimate goal is to give Enlangxiu a love poison. After being poisoned, his lust will gradually increase, making it difficult for him to notice it. Later, he will want to find a man every day. Ye Chen frowned secretly. If Enlangxiu was really poisoned and couldn't resolve it, it would be very troublesome. Enlangxiu might consider leaving the imperial palace. Do you want Enlangxiu to become Prince Mu's woman? Ye Chen narrowed his eyes and said, Prince Mu has been pursuing Enlangxiu in various ways recently. With Prince Mu's status, it is not difficult to ask someone to deliver gifts to Fengming Palace. But all kinds of gifts are now in the trash can. Right. Pei Wei nodded. If Enlangxiu becomes Prince Mu's woman, she is expected to become the queen in the future, and the top emperor of Shenjian Villa behind her may support her. But now I know that the top emperor should be just your subordinate. Ye Chen said calmly, Pei Wei, go back and ask Gong Kanghai to inform Charlemagne that they must stop the operation urgently. You can think of a reason yourself, and for the rest, you can do everything as usual. Pei Wei said, my lord, the Situ family plans to rebel. In this regard, what do you think? Ye Chen said with an indifferent expression, let them rebel. I want to see how many more demons and monsters jump out. Then we will crush them all to death, and the world will be peaceful. Pei Wei felt terrified. If Ye Chen didn't want to ask about things in Yejiakan, he probably wouldn't have let him come over. Don't tell Gong Kanghai, or let him continue to rebel. Taixuan Holy Land also needs to be cleaned up. Pei Wei secretly sighed. As a result, many people will probably die in Taixuan Holy Land. Yes, my lord. My lord, do you want Gong Kanghai to notify Charlemagne and their return, and I will capture them all then? Pei Wei opened his mouth and said. Ye Chen said quietly, you have to figure it out for yourself. If you are sure, do it. If you are not sure, forget it. No matter what you do, don't reveal my strength. Yes, my lord. Get up. Pei Wei finally stood up. His leg bone was broken, but it was easy for an emperor-level expert to recover. Even if he didn't have any legs, he could fly back easily. Not long after, Pei Wei left the imperial palace overnight. Ye Chen went to the room to sleep, and Luo Hongjian came over quickly and got into bed. Husband, what exactly did you say to old holy Lord Pei? Luo Hongjian said curiously, there was a sacred willow blockade here, and there was no breath outside. Ye Chen hugged Luo Hongjian. Bo. Ye Chen kissed Luo Hongjian on the cheek and said with a smile, Hongjian, this is a secret between us men. It's not convenient for you to know. Be good and go to sleep. If you don't obey me, my husband will spank you. Luo Hongjian's face turned red and she rolled her eyes at Ye Chen charmingly. Ye Chen, don't be presumptuous, I am the emperor. Crack. Ye Chen slapped him, it felt good. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 157. Pei Wei hurriedly returned to take Xuan Holy Land. Gong Kanghai immediately came to Pei Wei without falling asleep. Holy Lord, send a message to Charlemagne immediately and ask them to suspend their actions. Pei Wei said in a deep voice. Gong Kanghai was stunned. Mr. Pei, why? Charlemagne and the others are powerful men in the dynasty of the gods, and they may not listen to me. Pei Wei frowned and said, we still underestimated the strength of the royal family and the determination of the royal family to deal with the rebellion. If we lead the rebellion, the chance of our Taixuan Holy Land being destroyed is 100%. My chance of surviving may be 10%, but your chance of surviving is less than 1 in 10,000. Gong Kanghai's expression changed. He was originally reluctant to persuade Charlemagne and the others to stop their actions, but when Pei Wei said this, he instantly changed his mind. Mr. Pei, I'll do it now. Gong Kanghai said quickly. Holy Son Lei Hong is Pei Wei's son. He is already dead. Gong Kanghai doesn't think Pei Wei will be recruited. What kind of strength does the royal family have to make Pei Wei obedient? Hurry up. Pei Wei urged. Good. Gong Kanghai immediately used a long-distance messenger to spread the news, and Charlemagne got the news. The Tianyan royal family already knows that we are coming. Damn it! Charlemagne's face was gloomy. Gong Kanghai and he did not make the same remarks as Pei Wei. What Gong Kanghai told him was that spies from the Tianyan dynasty knew who were coming to perform the mission from the Gods dynasty. If they take action again, Tianyan dynasty will immediately target their family. End the operation. Spread the news to the others immediately. Charlemagne soon spread the news. 2 God King level warriors got the news. They immediately spread the news to the rest of their companions without asking why. The 6 dead men were about to start their killing mission, but they were stopped urgently. Charlemagne breathed a sigh of relief. It's really good to cooperate with local snakes. Charlemagne thought to himself, if they acted alone, how could they get such news? Even if they succeed here, the family will be destroyed. At dawn, Luo Hongjian opened her eyes. She didn't receive any more news later, indicating that Charlemagne and the others should have suspended their operations. As soon as Luo Hongjian moved, Ye Chen also woke up. Husband, please sleep a little longer, I have to go to the morning court. Luo Hongjian quickly got up, washed and left. After the morning court, the commander of the Jinyai Wei was called to the imperial study by Luo Hongjian. Last night, people from the Gods dynasty came over and killed a God Emperor level expert from our Tianyan dynasty. The Jinyai Wei had no news before that. What use do I need from you? Luo Hongjian was furious. Ding Mo, the commander of Jinyai Wei, smiled bitterly, Your Majesty, before the Supreme Emperor abdicated, he placed the Secret Intelligence Department under the management of Jinyai Wei. In name, the original Jinyai Wei and the Secret Intelligence Department are all under my control. But in fact, Your Majesty, you also know that the commander of the Secret Intelligence Department is only so obedient to my words. The commander of the Secret Intelligence Department, Feng Xiaoxiao, is the Emperor's woman. Luo Hongjian had a headache. In fact, this problem has always existed, and she hasn't had time to solve it yet. Or it's inconvenient to solve. Jin Yue has strong energy within the Tianyang dynasty, and the leader of Jin Yue, Ding Mo, also listens to her. In name, the secret agent Ting Ding Mo is also under her control. But it's not actually the case. It is difficult for the Jin Yue to develop its power abroad. The secret espionage division is very powerful abroad. The Tianyang dynasty has been inherited for more than 18,000 years. The secret espionage division is more powerful than the Jin Yue. The leader of the secret intelligence department is the emperor's woman. This power is still under the control of the supreme emperor. He has only been in charge of the throne for a few years, and the supreme emperor is so powerful that it is impossible for Luo Hongjian to fight against the supreme emperor and replace the position of commander of the secret intelligence department with someone else. Commander Ding, I don't want to hear so many reasons. Find Charlemagne and the others for me. Luo Hongjian said coldly. Also, let Deputy Commander Feng come over to see me. Feng Xiaoxiao is now the deputy commander of the Jin Yue and the commander of the Jin Yue spy department. Because Feng Xiaoxiao's identity is very sensitive, Luo Hongjian didn't care about her in the past. It's impossible to ignore it now. Didn't the spy department have any information about the actions of the dynasty of the gods? Yes, Your Majesty. Ding Mo retreated. Not long after, a woman who looked to be in her 30s or 40s came to Luo Hongjian. This woman's charm is still there. Feng Xiaoxiao had also entered the Juxiao beauty list back then, otherwise she would not have become Luo Shenjiayuan's woman. Hongjian, I haven't seen you for a few years, and you are becoming more and more charming, haha. Feng Xiaoxiao said with a fake smile. When she saw Luo Hongjian, she did not salute, she looked like an elder. Luo Hongjian met her when she was still on the throne. The initial meeting was not very pleasant. At first Luo Hongjian didn't know that Feng Xiaoxiao was the emperor's woman. Vice Commander Feng, I didn't ask you to come here just to reminisce about old times. Luo Hongjian said solemnly. The vast imperial power was released from her body, and Feng Xiaoxiao's expression changed. A few years ago, Luo Hongjian was still very young. Now that they haven't seen each other for several years, Luo Hongjian's imperial power has become much stronger. Hongjian, why, I am your aunt. Are you trying to get your wings stiff? Do you want to operate on my aunt? Don't forget that the Supreme Emperor is still alive. It's only been a few years since the Emperor passed the throne to you, and you're going to turn your back on me. Feng Xiaoxiao said coldly. She was not afraid of Luo Hongjian at all. She was the woman of the Emperor, and she managed the spy department like an iron barrel, and she herself was a strong man at the 7th level of the Emperor, much stronger than Luo Hongjian. Feng Xiaoxiao didn't believe it. Luo Hongjian really dared to attack herself. Luo Hongjian had only been on the throne for a few years, and the court was still full of the emperor's people. If the emperor stood up, many generals in the army would still support him. Deputy Commander Feng, relying on the support of the emperor, do you think I can't do anything to you? Luo Hongjian slammed the table and said. Feng Xiaoxiao said coldly, Your Majesty, let's do the same as before, it's better not to interfere with each other. Your Majesty, if something happens to me, the spy department will be in big trouble. Many confidential information may be exposed, which will be extremely disadvantageous to our Tianyang dynasty. Your Majesty, if there is nothing else, I'll leave first. After speaking, Feng Xiaoxiao turned around and left. Luo Hongjian was so angry that her body was shaking, but in the current situation, she really couldn't do anything to Feng Xiaoxiao. Targeting Feng Xiaoxiao would completely tear her face with the emperor. The spy department would definitely leak a lot of secrets. Wait until the imperial examination and martial arts examination are over, it seems that I have to have a good talk with the emperor. Luo Hongjian frowned secretly. Feng Xiaoxiao continued to stay in the position of the leader of the Jinyue spy department, which was not good for the country. Time passed day by day, and the day of the imperial examination and martial arts examination was getting closer and closer. Charlemagne and his team did not take any action for the time being, and Ye Chen did not take any action for the time being. Luo Hongjian said that he would move his parents' graves, but he had not taken any action for the time being. Eunuch Lu was sent to Yejia village by Ye Chen. If Charlemagne and his team come to make trouble again, they will definitely be taken down by Eunuch Lu. I should be able to break through to the Emperor level today. The 8-9 mysterious art is strengthened into the SS level Qinqin Bible, and the speed of practice is much faster than before. Ye Chen showed a faint smile on his face. If he still used the previous method, Ye Chen estimated that it might take another month or two to break through. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 158. Fengming Palace, Afternoon. The warm sunshine in April shone on Ye Chen. Chunlin was playing the piano next to him, and Xiaozu was playing chess with Chang'e, who was here. And Langxiu stood guard with a sword. Dong Mei was painting pictures for Ye Chen and the others in the pavilion nearby. Wow! Ye Chen looked at the book as if he saw something interesting, with a faint smile on his face. Finally, the Emperor level cultivation. Ye Chen secretly thought, there was no powerful aura emanating from his body, but the energy in his body was like a mountain torrent or a tsunami, and every cell in his body seemed to be cheering. Ye Chen's cultivation level successfully broke through to the Emperor level. If Ye Chen breaks through to the Emperor level without the holy hidden cloak, strange phenomena in the world will occur thousands of miles away. The spiritual energy within thousands of miles will be affected. Now that I have cultivated to the level of the Great Emperor, I should have the strength of the 8th level of the Great Emperor. One step closer to the semi-saint level. Ye Chen secretly thought. Brother-in-law, please help me. I can't beat Sister Xiaozu, can you help me? Chang Li said coquettishly. She had been here several times during this period. Luo Hongjian and concubine Shu said that since Chang Li likes to come to Fengming Palace, let her come. Luo Hongjian now has confidence in Ye Chen. You play with Xiaozu by yourself, while I go to the training room to practice. Ye Chen said, Eunuch Lu is not here, it would be better for him to go to the training room and then enter the trial tower. And Langxiu and the other girls looked at Ye Chen in shock, as if they had heard a lot of incredible news. What's wrong with you being like this? Can't I enter the training room? Ye Chen said angrily. After saying this, he quickly arrived at the training room in Fengming Palace and locked the door of the training room. And Langxiu and the others looked at me and I looked at you, they all felt like they were in a dream. Ye Chen actually entered the training room. It's not like Ye Chen hasn't entered before, but that was when he was practicing in Chang'e. It has never happened to me to practice there by myself. I will go to His Majesty. I must tell His Majesty this good news immediately. Chunlin said quickly. And Langxiu said, we have to notify the kitchen to add some dishes, and His Majesty will probably come over. Soon, the news spread throughout Fengming Palace. Everyone in Fengming Palace was shocked. Everyone knows how much Ye Chen is practicing. What day is it today? What stimulation did the Empress receive? What nonsense are you talking about? Isn't it good for the Queen to practice hard? Where can I find a master as good as the Queen? Many people in Fengming Palace were talking about it. Chunlin came to Luo Hongjian's side. Luo Hongjian got the news and immediately sent a message to Ye Chen. Ye Chen, what's going on? Luo Hongjian was a little nervous. Ye Chen usually lay there just practicing, but now it was so formal and scary. What's the problem if you don't know how to practice? Hongjian, it's okay. I have made a small breakthrough in my cultivation. Let's try my hand in the trial tower and get used to my current power. Luo Hongjian felt relieved. But she became even more curious, what kind of strength is Ye Chen now? In the trial tower, Ye Chen directly simulated a strong man at the 8th level of the Great Emperor. He had failed many challenges before, but now Ye Chen felt that he should be able to succeed. Boom! Ye Chen immediately fought with the simulated 8th level emperor, and the fight caused the mountains to collapse and the earth to break apart. An hour later, Ye Chen defeated his opponent with difficulty. Come again. After recovering, Ye Chen fought against the simulated 8th level emperor for the second time. This time, it only took Ye Chen about 40 minutes to defeat this opponent. As noon approached, Ye Chen was able to defeat his opponent within half an hour. This strength has not yet reached the 9th level of the Great Emperor. But Ye Chen was quite satisfied with such combat power just after breaking through to the Emperor level. Generally, it will not take longer than the time from the 1st level of the Great Emperor to the 2nd level of the Great Emperor than from the 9th level of the God Emperor to the 1st level of the Great Emperor. I can definitely reach the strength of the 9th level of the Great Emperor within a month. Ye Chen secretly thought. Half-saint strength may take 3 months. If Luo Hongjian cannot sign anything to improve her cultivation by then, it may be difficult for Luo Hongjian to reach the strength of a semi-saint before she reaches the level of God Emperor. Empress, you have made a breakthrough. Empress, you have the 3rd level of innate cultivation. When Ye Chen arrived outside, he allowed his revealed cultivation to improve to a small level. En Langxiu and the others were overjoyed when they discovered that he had reached the 3rd level of innate cultivation. Loki. In terms of the 3rd level of innate cultivation, I am the man who will become a saint in the future. Ye Chen said with a smile. En Langxiu and the others ignored Ye Chen's words. The Holy Lord has long become an unreachable legend. No figure at the level of a semi-saint has appeared for thousands of years. There may not even be a half-saint in the entire Juxiao continent. See your majesty. Luo Hongjian entered the backyard at this time, her eyes fell on Ye Chen, and a faint smile appeared on her face. No gift. I heard someone bragging from afar. It's simply impossible to cultivate at the level of a saint. Luo Hongjian chuckled and said, the rules of this world do not allow the appearance of strong men at the level of saints. It's not absolutely impossible to reach the semi-saint level, but the difficulty of becoming a semi-saint is thousands of times more difficult than before. It is impossible for anyone to become a semi-saint. Ye Chen chuckled. The rules of heaven and earth were like that. He had seen relevant information from some ancient books, but he practiced the Kankan Bible and his body had its own rules. Sister Hongjian, it's quite good for my brother-in-law to reach the 3rd level of innate cultivation. Brother-in-law, if you work harder, your cultivation will definitely be higher. Luo Yudi laughed. Food has been prepared in the dining room, and Ye Chen eats with Luo Hongjian, Luo Yudi, En Langxiu, and Lu Qianqian. Chunlin and the others were determined not to serve. Chunlin and the others knew that although they were also maids, they were still different from En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian. En Langxiu and Lu Qianqian were both powerful at the level of God Kings. And they are very talented. Behind the Divine Sword Villa is an ancestor with top emperor strength. Ye Chen, the scientific examination is coming soon. I intend to let you become the examiner of the scientific examination. What do you think? With your talent and knowledge, you are more than enough to be the examiner of the scientific examination. Luo Hongjian said. Even Wei Yutang and Luo Hongjian can't absolutely trust him, but she definitely believes in Ye Chen. Hongjian, I am the Empress. What does it mean to be the examiner of a scientific examination? Besides, I don't have the interest. Ye Chen shook his head and refused. Luo Hongjian nodded lightly. Since Ye Chen didn't want to show up, she wouldn't force him. Chang'e, the scientific and martial arts examinations are held. Now many young talents have arrived in Tianyang Imperial City. I promise you can leave the palace every day. You can go out of the palace more often every day. You are already 15 years old and a big girl. Luo Hongjian looked at Luo Yudi and said. He, okay, Sister Hanjian. Luo Yudi laughed and said that she was not interested in going out of the palace to meet any young talents, but she was still very interested in being able to go out of the palace every day. After the meal was finished, Luo Yudi went back. Lu Qianqian entered the training room to practice. Only Ye Chen, Luo Hanjian, and An Langxiu were left in the backyard. En Lan, you glanced at the Emperor and Empress 21 times just after dinner, and Qianqian only glanced at her 5 times. Luo Hanjian sent a message, I'm letting you continue to seduce the Emperor, but I'm not letting you have true feelings now, do you understand? En Langxiu was terrified. He quietly glanced at Ye Chen, and was actually seen clearly by Luo Hanjian. Luo Hanjian still had account. Your Majesty, I was wrong. En Langxiu knelt on the ground in panic. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hanjian and En Langxiu in confusion. Hanjian, what's going on? Luo Hanjian shook her head. En Langxiu secretly paid attention to you a lot when we were eating, much more than Qianqian. I asked her to pay more attention to you. I promised you that if you reach the star gathering level, you can choose one of them, but even so, En Langxiu can't show too much, which will make outsiders suspicious. En Langxiu lowered her head and said, Your Majesty, I was wrong, I will try my best to pay attention. Ye Chen frowned slightly. En Langxiu wouldn't have been tricked, right? Xiao Lu, check on En Langxiu's condition. Ye Chen secretly ordered. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 159. Companion Chen Liu immediately checked En Langxiu's situation, and soon Ye Chen got feedback. En Langxiu really fell into the trap. Xiao Lu, solve En Langxiu's problem. Ye Chen quickly ordered. The next second, Ye Chen received feedback from the companion god Lu. It cannot be completely solved, it can only be suppressed. En Langxiu was not poisoned, but the drug stimulated the body's instinctive reaction. Then restrain it first. Ye Chen scolded Pei Wei in his heart. He asked Pei Wei to leave Gong Kanghai alone. Could it be that Pei Wei didn't even put away the magic medicine himself and let Gong Kanghai continue to use it? En Lan, please get up and go practice first. Ye Chen said. En Langxiu did not stand up immediately. Luo Hanjian said, En Lan, since the Emperor has said so, why don't you come quickly? Don't think too much, just pay more attention. Yes, Your Majesty. En Langxiu stood up and left quickly. She felt a little upset, and she didn't know what was wrong with her these days. Hanjian, I just checked that En Lan has been plotted. There is a love potion in her body. It is not a poison and cannot be detoxified. Currently, it can only suppress the effect. Ye Chen frowned. Luo Hanjian was startled, so that's the case, then I have wronged her a little bit. Ye Chen, should I call some powerful doctors to come over and ask them to look at En Lan? Ye Chen shook his head, I'm afraid they don't have the ability to detect it. Let's check after a while. Under the condition of suppression, the effect of the drug may gradually decrease. For the next period of time, I will ask En Lan to practice in seclusion without seeing anyone else. Luo Hanjian left, and Ye Chen frowned secretly. He originally planned to summon Pei Wei and ask him if he had an antidote for En Langxiu's recovery. But Ye Chen held back after taking out the messenger talisman. In Pei Wei's opinion, he is a strong man at the level of a saint. Couldn't a strong man at the level of a saint be able to solve this problem? Perhaps Pei Wei deliberately did not remind Gong Kanghai that this was a testing method. Decades of ambition may not be completely eliminated easily. Under normal circumstances, Pei Wei would have taken away the magic medicine and would not let Gong Kanghai use it again. Ye Chen's eyes sparkled. In fact, After Pei Wei left, there was indeed a trace of doubt in his heart. With the current rules of heaven and earth, can a powerful person of the holy level appear in heaven and earth? He secretly carefully investigated the situation in Yejia village and investigated Yechen's life trajectory. It used to be very common. If Yechen had a saint-level cultivation, wouldn't it have been revealed for such a long time? Or is it that Yechen was promoted to the level of a saint within a short period of time after entering the palace? Pei Wei had a lot of doubts in his heart. So he simply pretended to have forgotten about the magic medicine and let Gong Kanghai continue to act. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. The companion Zhen Liu tried his best to suppress An Langxiu's condition, but An Langxiu's condition still worsened slightly. Finally I can sign in again. Where can I sign in? Yechen secretly thought to himself that he signed in at the Northern Desert Imperial Palace last month and received an SS-level reward and an S-level reward. Yechen is determined to try out the Dynasty of the Gods. The Dynasty of the Gods did not exist for that long, but some of the palaces of the Dynasty of the Gods existed during the previous dynasty. With my current 8th level strength as the Great Emperor, it won't take me 2 hours to go to the Dynasty of the Gods, and it won't take 4 hours to get back and forth. It's totally fine to go there at night. Yechen made up his mind. There used to be a lot of money here in Tianyang Imperial Palace, and the reward for getting S level is pretty good, but the reward for getting SS level is very low, and I haven't been to the Dynasty of the Gods yet. At night, Yechen entered the training room. Then he left quietly. Lu Qianqian stayed outside the training room, unaware that Yechen had left. Purple Dragon Palace. Nangongneng said, "Your Majesty, Lord Ding Mo would like to see you. Meet me at this time. Let him wait in the Imperial Study Room." Luo Hanjian frowned. At this time, Ding Mo, the commander of the Jinyi Guards, asked to see him. He didn't know what important matter it was. 10 minutes later, Luo Hanjian met Ding Mo in the Imperial Study Room. Ding Mo bowed respectfully. Luo Hanjian said calmly, "Commander Ding, is there any trace of Charlemagne and the others?" Ding Mo said, "Back to your Majesty, Charlemagne is a powerful person in the 9th level of the God Emperor. They also keep a low profile and do not show up, so there is no news about them yet." Luo Hanjian frowned. "Commander Ding, why did you see me at this time?" Ding Mo took a deep breath and said, "Your Majesty, during the investigation, I discovered another important news. This matter is even more important, about the Tianyang dynasty Zhongshan Shiji." Luo Hanjian was shocked. "What matters can affect the country?" "Your Majesty, last year the Queen Mother and the Emperor left the palace, and the Emperor was taken away by strong men from the Huns. That night, a friend of the Queen came to Yejia village. I boldly checked the memories of several people in Yejia village. I am sure that there is a 99% chance that that person is the Queen. How did the Emperor and Empress get across such a long distance? Also, if the Empress is so powerful, why doesn't she avenge her parents? Your Majesty asks someone to destroy the Black Sand Gang. Why doesn't the Empress take action herself?" Luo Hanjian's face turned a little pale. She has actually thought about this problem, but she is not willing to think about it deeply. Because judging from Yechen's various behaviors, Yechen didn't have any problems, and all he brought to her was help. But the Black Sand Gang is not that strong. Yechen's current strength is at the level of a god emperor. Didn't he even have the strength of a god king before entering the palace? Even if he only had Yangshen level cultivation, it would be easy for Yechen to deal with the Black Sand Gang. "Commander Ding, so what is your conclusion?" Luo Hanjian said in a deep voice. A fan of the authorities, she wanted to hear the thoughts of Ding Mo, an outsider. Ding Mo said, "Your Majesty, because of suspicion, I have asked people to conduct a more detailed investigation. The Emperor and Empress have been beaten before, and they were seriously ill and almost died. But since entering the palace, the emperor and empress have never been sick. So your majesty, I suspect that the original Ye Chen has died a long time ago, and the current empress is not Ye Chen. The reason why he was chosen may be because Ye Chen was lucky enough to get potato seeds. Your majesty, the emperor and empress may not be human. Luo Hongjian's heart trembled. Next to him, Eunuch Yan's expression changed slightly. Your majesty, if the other strong men were like Ye Chen, they would have been discovered long ago. There is only one possibility that the queen has not been discovered for such a long time. The demon is parasitic. Luo Hongjian said in a deep voice, Commander Ding, if you say so, why did the empress go to Yejia village? Ding Mo said, Your majesty, it may be Ye Chen's obsession or something. Go back and visit and eliminate this obsession, maybe it will make it easier for the demon to parasitize. Or swallow the fusion more completely. By the way, your majesty, there is another doubt. The empress has not practiced much. Is this normal? Who doesn't want to become more powerful? The empress now has enough resources. Unless the empress is already an extremely powerful demon, her training may be discovered. Luo Hongjian's face became even paler. Ye Chen helped her a lot. The two of them slept together many times. She trusted Ye Chen. But what Ding Mo said was not unreasonable. Are there any doubts? Luo Hongjian asked. Ding Mo said, Your Majesty, there really is one. According to our investigation results, the emperor was not so lazy before, and he was quite diligent in training. You have to practice hard to achieve the acquired level of cultivation. He doesn't practice much now, but his strength should be at least the level of a god emperor. Luo Hongjian's heart was trembling. Ye Chen indeed has the strength of a god emperor. She took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Commander Ding, are you sure the empress has practiced hard in the past? Right. Ding Mo nodded, Your Majesty, we definitely don't dare to make a decision easily when it comes to the emperor and the empress. I have discussed this matter with several powerful people who have studied demons more, and they have the same opinion. Your Majesty, I suggest that the emperor and empress be executed secretly. This matter must not be spread. Luo Hongjian was the empress of the Tianyang dynasty. It would be a big joke if she got married to a demon and even slept together. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 160. Luo Hongjian was silent. She thought of the potato seeds that Ye Chen had taken out. Could it be that because of those acres of potatoes, the original Ye Chen died and was occupied by a demon? She didn't want to believe it. But all the evidence was against Ye Chen. He had the strength, but he didn't avenge his parents. He used to practice hard, but now he is lazy and doesn't practice hard at all. He has never been sick. He is proficient in everything from music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. In addition, Ye Chen was not very tempted by An Langxiu and Lu Jianqian. If it is really a demon, the other party's aesthetics may be completely different from that of humans. It is normal that An Langxiu and others can't attract Ye Chen no matter how beautiful they are. Ye Chen is nice to me, is it pretending? No, it won't. Luo Hongjian was confused. Ding Mo said in a deep voice, Your Majesty, if the Empress is a demon, her strength must be amazing, and there is a high probability that she will have the strength of the Emperor level. We may need to make plans early. You go down first, I will think about it. This matter must be kept secret. Luo Hongjian said in a deep voice. Ding Mo wanted to say more, but when he saw Luo Hongjian frowning, he immediately took his leave and left. Luo Hongjian sat there for a long time without getting up. She recalled every bit of being with Ye Chen. Ye Chen brought her a lot of joy. She even planned that when she and Ye Chen had a child, and the child was in his 20s, she would pass the throne to Ye Chen, and she and Ye Chen would be free and easy in the world, and become a pair of immortal lovers. If she was just an ordinary woman, she would not bother to think more, and would just trust Ye Chen without thinking. At worst, she would die. But she is not. She is the emperor of the Tianyang dynasty, and she has hundreds of millions of people behind her. Eunuch Yan, tell me what you think. Luo Hongjian looked at Eunuch Yan and said. The only person who heard Ding Mo's words just now was Eunuch Yan. Eunuch Yan bowed his head and said, Your Majesty, I dare not speak nonsense. Just say what I ask you to say. Eunuch Yan hesitated and said, Your Majesty, I think what Commander Ding said makes sense, but it is also true that the Empress has helped you a lot, so you should handle it with caution. Luo Hongjian shook her head. Eunuch Yan is an old sly guy. Thousands of kilometers away. Ye Chen stopped and frowned. Through the red dust cable, he sensed that Luo Hongjian was very confused at this moment. What happened? Did Hongjian know that the emperor wanted to take back the throne? Ye Chen thought to himself. Luo Hongjian has a strong psychological endurance, and ordinary things can't make her so confused. If the Situ family, take Xuan Holy Land, etc. rebel, Luo Hongjian's heart should not be confused, but angry. If Luo Hongjian finds out that he is missing, knowing that he is strong, Luo Hongjian should be a little worried at most. Hongjian is just upset, not afraid or fearful. There should be no problem with her life safety. Ye Chen took a deep breath and continued to head to the God's dynasty at full speed. He would be stronger and could solve the problem by then. Luo Hongjian arrived at Fengming Palace. Your Majesty. Lu Qianqian saw Luo Hongjian and bowed quickly. Is the Empress practicing inside? Luo Hongjian asked. Lu Qianqian nodded, Yes, Your Majesty, the Empress entered the room to practice, and ordered not to disturb. Luo Hongjian nodded gently, and her consciousness entered the practice room. The practice room here uses special ore, and the consciousness of ordinary God King level characters cannot reach inside, but Luo Hongjian has the cultivation of the 9th level of God King. Huh! Luo Hongjian's heart was shocked. The practice room was empty, and there was no trace of Ye Chen at all. You continue to guard it? Luo Hongjian arrived at the backyard and lay on the chair where Ye Chen often lay. All the memories came to Luo Hongjian's mind. Can a demon disguise so well? Luo Hongjian murmured to herself, her intuition told her that Ye Chen had no problem with her feelings. Ye Chen gave me a powerful strange fire. He gave me a semi-saint level anti-aging pill. If he is a demon, isn't the price too high? Luo Hongjian walked towards Ye Chen's bedroom. Lying on the bed and smelling Ye Chen's familiar breath, her heart gradually settled down. Eunuch Yan, notify everyone that there will be no morning court tomorrow. If I don't go to Zilong Palace with the Emperor and Empress tomorrow, you go to Wanchao Palace and ask the Emperor to preside over the government again. Luo Hongjian sent a message to Eunuch Yan. Eunuch Yan was at the Purple Dragon Palace at the moment. His face changed. Your Majesty, do you want to explain to the Emperor and Empress? It's very dangerous for you to do this. You should mobilize strong men to go there. No. I mobilized strong men to besiege Ye Chen. What if he is fine? I will make him feel disappointed. I am willing to believe him. If I believe him wrongly, I will give him my life. Luo Hongjian transmitted the message. Eunuch Yan was horrified. Your Majesty, if the Emperor and Empress are not human, you will definitely die. Eunuch Yan, I know it, you don't need to say more. You don't understand the relationship between me and the Emperor and Empress. Eunuch Yan smiled bitterly. He really didn't understand the matter of feelings. He entered the palace at a young age and didn't know anything about men and women. But he felt that it was worth it for Luo Hongjian to gamble her life like this. Luo Hongjian herself was very talented and powerful, and she was also an emperor with an extremely noble status. Your Majesty, are you really not going to consider it again? Eunuch Yan, I have made it very clear, do your own thing. Luo Hongjian closed her eyes. She gently stroked the guardian ring on her left hand with her right hand. If it weren't for this, she would have died long ago. This life of mine was given by Ye Chen. If he really has a problem, it's okay to die in his hands. Luo Hongjian thought about it and her heart gradually became calmer. She fell asleep. In less than 2 hours, Ye Chen rushed to the dynasty of gods at the fastest speed and sneaked into the palace. System, sign in here once. Ye Chen ordered. Soon the sign-in was over, and Ye Chen was very excited. Sure enough, he got another SS level reward, and this time the reward was an SS level enlightenment pill. He had gotten the enlightenment pill before, and it had improved his cultivation a lot before. Ha 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 ha. This trip is a big win. I am now at the level of the Great Emperor. The SS level enlightenment pill should be able to help me improve 2 or 3 small realms. My strength can definitely reach the level of a semi-saint. Ye Chen laughed wildly in his heart. System, use the SS level enlightenment pill. Ye Chen said in his mind, and immediately Ye Chen felt as if he was in a state of enlightenment. Many things that he didn't understand before were now clear in an instant. His cultivation level increased at a crazy speed. 2 hours later, Ye Chen had already left the Gods dynasty and approached the Tianyuan imperial city. His cultivation level had reached the 4th level of the Great Emperor. Originally, the cultivation level of the Great Emperor was the 8th level of Ye Chen, and now he is a semi-saint. There is no 9th level of the semi-saint. It is just divided into 4 small realms, namely the early, middle, late, and perfect semi-saint. Ye Chen is the early semi-saint. Husband, where have you been? Ye Chen returned to Fengming Palace and went to the bedroom. Luo Hongjian woke up from her sleep. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding.